Now we're going to take a look at another way to get media into our Smoke project. Rather than just importing clips and beginning an edit here in Smoke, sometimes you will actually begin the edit somewhere else. You may have started an edit in Final Cut or in VID, or you might be the effects and finishing person who is taking that edit that was done by somebody else in one of those programs to bring in Smoke and do additional work on it. Smoke can bring in an XML file from either Final Cut 7 or Final Cut 10, an AAF file from VID, or an EDL. What I have for you as an example is an XML file from Final Cut 10, and that's what we're going to bring in. All of the options for conforming an edit are, as you might have guessed, on this tab that says Conform. So let's click on the Conform tab. Right now we have a sequence that's open, so what I'm seeing in the Conform tab right now is information related to the media of the currently open sequence. But if I right-click in this area, you'll notice I have options to load a new FCP XML, an AAF, an EDL, or to load and edit a new EDL. We're going to use this first option to load a new FCP XML. This takes us to a window that looks a little bit like the media import option we were just in because it is related to that. When I bring this edit in from another program, I'm not just bringing in the editing information, I'm also bringing in the media. Now in this particular case, we're going to bring in an XML that used some of the footage we've already imported. But this is going to treat that media as though it is new media. This is an import process. Like the import process, we have options of what to do with the media it finds. If I come to the bottom of this window and click on the General tab, you will notice we have our same Cache Source Media button available in this window. So when I conform this edit and Smoke identifies the media that was used for that edit, do I want to link to that media where it is, or do I want to import and create new versions of it in my managed media files? You make that same decision here. And of course, all of the other decisions that we talked about related to importing media in the last lesson apply as well. I'm going to leave these settings just as we had them the last time and go back to this tab for XML import options. When you import an XML, you have to make some decisions about how Smoke locates the media that goes with that XML. When I edit in another program, such as Final Cut or VID, and I export that XML or AAF, that file contains information about where the media was when I was editing. It will refer to those media locations. When I import and conform that XML or AAF or EDL, do I want to limit myself to looking for the media just where it was when that XML or other file was created? Or do I want to offer Smoke the opportunity to look for the media in another location as well? A very common scenario is that somebody may send you a folder of media that has the XML file right inside of it. And in that case, of course, I want Smoke to look in the same folder as the XML file and see if it can identify the media. Where that option comes into play is down here under Relative Search Options. We have two types of search options. An absolute search is only look for the media where the XML file tells you to look for it. That type of search will always be performed. It can't be turned off. Smoke will always try to find the media where the XML or AAF file last thought the media existed. You can additionally search for the media with a relative search using this button that says Search and Import Files. If I turn that button off, the absolute search based on the locations inside of the XML file is the only search that will be done. If I turn that button on, in addition, I can also get it to search within the folder where the XML is. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. I also want to talk about the media options. This link to media files option here is not the same as linking files that we talked about in importing. This has to do with the sequence we're going to create when we conform this XML. If I leave this option turned on, that sequence will be created in Smoke and automatically linked to any media it locates during the process. If I turn that option off, you'll notice that now all of my search options are grayed out. It's no longer going to try to find the media. It is simply going to import the XML as a set of editing decisions, but with all of the media offline. If you happen to know that all of your media is in some other location and you need to go reconnect that media as offline media, you can do this as a way of saying, you know what? Don't even look. I'm going to leave this off. And I'm going to do it this way because we're going to bring in a sequence with all the media offline, which will give me an opportunity to show you how to reconnect offline media. So now we're ready to look for our XML. Our XML lives in this folder called Other Import Files. Let's double click on that folder to go into it. And you'll see right here, here is this opening scene XML. If we were doing the relative search, there's a button here we could use to help. It is searching in the folder where the XML lives, and I have the additional option of saying scan the subdirectories. So in other words, if my XML file lived in this Other Import Files folder and all of the elements I needed were in subfolders to that folder, I could scan the subdirectories to find them. Unfortunately, this isn't the media I need for my XML, so I'm going to turn that off. In this particular case, the media I need is that same footage folder that we've already imported. We are going to start by bringing in the XML. So I've selected my XML. I'm going to click Import. It's looking and it's not finding the media. So in fact, here is my sequence with all of the media offline. In the next lesson, we're going to reconnect this media as a way for you to learn how to reconnect offline media.